As part of our productivity series, let's answer the question of how do you drive performance in your organization? How do you deliver on the targets and outcomes that you desire? Well, you do that through good performance management. And I find that this concept is very poorly understood in business in general, and people really struggle with this. They really struggle with performance indicators and what are KPIs and what should be on our scorecard and so on and so forth. And so I want to help people understand kind of the framework for establishing good performance management. So the first thing that you need to understand is that business is a series of cause and effect relationships. So we always want certain effects out of our business. We want to make a certain level of profitability. We want to achieve a certain level of sales. We want to have a certain level of health and safety within our business. We want zero fatalities. We want zero incidents, and so on. And so it's very easy for us to define the effects in the cause and effect. It's very easy to define the outcomes that we're looking for. What's more difficult for people to understand is what are the causes of those things? If I want to have a profitability level of X, what are the causes that would drive that effect or that outcome? And that's what needs to be understood. So effects sit over here to the right. This is the outcome side. Effects and outcomes are derived from what we call here our drivers, which are our causes. And we can break causes down into two general types. We have root causes and immediate causes. Okay, and what would fall into those categories are the following. So root causes are things like behaviors and the capabilities and skills within your organization and the way your leadership is and the way your organizational culture is. The immediate causes are then things like the actual systems you have in place and the processes and the procedures that exist. And then effects are outcomes. Effects are things that you want as a result. So things like we want a certain level of return on investment. We want a certain level of productivity. We want a certain level of profitability, or we want a certain, we want no incidents. We want no health and safety incidents, or no critical incidents, and so on. And so you need to frame that up. You need to understand your business and think about it in this way. And then the performance indicator overlay is this middle section right here. So we have two types of indicators. We have leading indicators and lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are completely understood. People get that, and scorecards are going to have already lots of lagging indicators. People for sure are measuring their profitability. Did we make money this month or not? What was our return on investment, and so on. People are always measuring outcomes, and everything tends to be outcome-centric. But what we need to also be looking at are some of the leading indicators as well in our business. And we need to be looking at how are we progressing on the causes and on the drivers that produce those certain outcomes, and not just looking at the outcomes themselves. We want to do that for a few reasons. One, though, very important, is a lagging indicator only gives you a result after the causes have happened, after time has passed. And that's why it's called a lagging indicator. You only get it after the fact. So you only know your profitability for May maybe on the 5th day of June, depending on how your financial reporting cycle goes and how you can reconcile that information. But you only know at some point after May how you did financially. So what we want to make sure that we've incorporated into our reporting are leading indicators so that we're getting early warning. So things are telling us if the month is going to be off ahead of just finding out on the 5th of June that May was a terrible month. And so we want to make sure that down here we're saying, well, what does an overall performance management, a good performance management system look like? Good performance management is going to incorporate both performance drivers, these things, root causes, immediate causes, and some indicators around those, and it's going to incorporate outcome measures. We're going to be looking at both of those in a balanced way, or in a more balanced way. Instead of the typical organization which right now is looking at lots of outcome measures, but very few performance drivers. So the typical organization is falling down in here somewhere right now. So in order to be a leader in performance management and do a really great job of this, we want to make sure that we're measuring both of those things and we have good inputs, we understand the drivers and the status of the drivers, and also good outcomes and good outputs, and that we understand the effects, and we're measuring both of those things. So I hope that helps you better understand performance management and the way you need to structure your performance management program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Brad Pickering, President and Founder of Innovate Advisory, and I look forward to working with you in the future.